Of the top 20% of the richest people in America, how much of the country's resources do you believe they own?
I think I read this. Isn't it over like 95% or something like that?
80%?
It's over 90%.
I was going to say about 80.
Yeah, it's 84%. How do you feel about that disparity?
Well, I think it's a huge problem.
This is America. It's how it's always been. But I'm not a huge fan of it.
I'm reading a book about how the world ended up in World War I, and that's pretty much how the world ended up in World War I, was economic disparity between economic classes.
Probably should even out a little bit more.
You're always going to have unhappy and happy people, but I think a lot of that comes back to education. And I think if we could fix our education system and the people, were educated and all our jobs weren't moving overseas and stuff like that, and we became more competitive, because I think that's what it comes down to being in our society, is we have that opportunity to compete. And when you compete, you can win as well as you can lose. And not everyone's going to win when you compete. So if you want to win, you got to be that much more competitive.
Compete against who?
Everyone else who is trying to possibly buy something that we're selling, or a service, or anything that has to do with the marketplace. When someone is competing for a customer, possibly, when they have $1 and there's two people that want that dollar, who's going to be the most competitive to get that dollar?
So it's the scarcity of money, right? Because the top 20% have most of it, right?
Well, they absolutely do, but there's a way they got that.
You get an elite group making decisions for everybody else that aren't responsible for their own decisions, aren't the ones that fight the wars, aren't the ones that take the losses. And pretty soon the others say no more and problems start. So I think it's something that has to be fixed, or it could be a repeat of things that have happened in history that are pretty bloody.
We're a capitalistic society. We're structured to be that way. So unless we want to do something about it, which a lot of people are, with the whole Occupy movement.
We're out here, checking out the Occupy movement in Santa Barbara.
I support, the Occupy movement, the resource-based economy, and actually any movement that actually is for real sustainable change.
We're really glad that we can kind of emphasize on awareness and just kind of understanding of things that are going on in society, and as far as economically speaking, and just making ourselves all conscious of the things going on around us is a really good step.
The Occupy movement brought something to me that I didn't have before, which was a downtown area space where I could talk to other people doing all different types of things, and start branching out with other activists with different ideas and solutions. And plus, I got to start screening films, all kind of documentaries on the side of City Hall. I think the Occupy movement can serve as an umbrella movement for all the other different groups that can start working together and formulating ground-up solutions, such as the Zeitgeist movement.
Well, for answering our question, we want to give you something.
Oh, cool.
Okay, well, I'd like to give you guys something for answering these questions. You mentioned it comes in the form of education, is how we helped our situation. Yeah, it's all about the economic system, and it actually addresses some of these issues. It's a documentary. Cool. So
Thank you.
check it out. Thank you.
This is really my first time kind of doing this. We met some interesting people. I learned a lot. It was quite an experience, and I am glad that I am participating in it. And this was a lot of fun.